Hey everybody, welcome back to Pixel Junkies podcast, episode 187. Rory, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay.
Oh man, Roy's here. I didn't know that. How's it going?
No, we didn't check to see if everyone was good. I just kind of started.
Yeah, I know.
like an
Yeah,
asshole.
yep. It was about a minute of silence there, and Andrew just sent the ball down the hill. But anyway,
So, how is everybody?
I'm
Doing
good.
good, man.
I'm playing
Doing
the
good.
new Pokemon game here. Let's go.
Oh, yeah?
Let's go.
That's what you went with.
What?
I thought you were going with Hitman after.
Yeah, man. Hitman is 70 gigs. I'm not downloading that. The Pokemon is way better.
70 gigs. Jesus Christ.
So, is this Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee?
This
Which one's
one,
your favorite?
of course, Eevee.
Not Pikachu? Not
No, Let's Go Eevee has
Ryan
Meowth.
Reynolds bullshit movie?
I'm waiting for let the Detective Eevee to come out, or Stevie, or whatever everyone's calling her Eevee online.
Are people calling it Stevie?
Yep, apparently, lots of people.
It's,
So when I get my Eevee here, it's going to be named Stevie. Got to be original.
oh, please no. You should name all your Pokemon after Pixel Junkies characters, like Franklin and.
That's a clever idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you meant by Pixel Junkies characters. I was like, you mean us?
Man, this is a very pretty game.
people?
They've very crystal clear. The graphics are obviously upgraded. This is a nice
I really
job
do
being
need to
able
get a new headphone. The wires are starting to come out of this one.
headphone.
Well, he only needs the one other.
There's an expansion pack. Where's the?
The,
oh, okay, right. You got to do the auto run to. There we go.
So, Aaron finished Red Dead.
I did.
Did you finish?
Yeah, I finished the epilogue.
Did you finish the epilogue?
Jesus, is one of these fucking games.
What? Pokemon?
It's all open world.
Did you finish, or did you just finish?
Well, it has a fairly lengthy epilogue. So, like, the main story is complete at that point, I would say, and then there's the epilogue.
And then Arthur.
How many games are like that, Adam?
And then Arthur.
How many
returned
games are
home
like
from
that,
From
that
Gondor, only to
it's
find that the
annoying.
Shire had been taken over by Saruman. And so the next 4 hours of the movie are them dealing with that nonsense in the Shire. And then when they defeat him, then then Gandalf and Frodo go to the Grey Realms, and then a couple years later, Legolas and Gimli go to the Grey Realms, and then a few
Oh,
years
it's
later,
one of
Sam
those
goes to the Grey Realms.
podcasts where Adam talks about the thing for too long and nobody cares.
So, Aaron, did the
This
ending
got
meet
derailed real
expectations?
quick.
What the fuck is that? Is there a cops at someone's house? What was that?
Pretty sure Andrew's audio just shit the bed there.
We got a 1072 in the country room.
We know we've made it when we get swatted.
Yeah. Oh man.
We get swatted, but it's because somebody's actually committing a crime. It's
Aaron,
like Rory's over there downloading movies, and the punches Rory to smash the windows. And it's like, okay, we're cracking down now.
Wait, no. Guys, no.
Oh, there goes Andrew. Anyway.
Aaron, did the ending meet expectations? You were loving the game while it was going on. How did the ending make you feel?
I really enjoyed both endings. I think they did everything perfectly. I don't know. I don't really know what else you would change about the story. Some of the stuff, like, obviously we know that this story kind of is the prequel to the first game. So in some respects, there are certain facets of the story that they kind of had to include. And so, like, there's obviously certain numbers of things that kind of need to have happened in that story, and sort of seeing the build up to the first game is a really cool experience. There's still a lot of very epic moments that the game's able to throw at you, even at the very end. And it's a super good game. Both of those together, I would say, probably are one of my favorite stories ever. in any medium. And just the scope of the second game is so massive. It kind of, I don't know if you got sort of the same thing, Andrew. It almost makes the first game feel like it could have just been another quest added on at the end. Like with just how vast and broad the second game is in terms of like the topics that it covers and the ground that it covers. I feel like they could have done the entire first game again, and it would have been a cool thing. But yeah, it was great. I think everybody should play it. Just the story and the characters are so believable and so fleshed out that it's just really well done. It's a masterpiece. There's really not. I can't give it any higher praise. It obviously has flaws, and there's things I would maybe change about some of the gameplay mechanics and things. But in terms of the writing and the world building, it still lives up to my very early expectations. If not more. I really enjoyed it.
I haven't played it yet, but just looking because I've been watching my friend, and regular contributor Sandy play it, and the game, I will say it's one of the best looking games I've ever seen on consoles, just in terms of the atmosphere. I haven't seen a game really do atmosphere that well since Alien Isolation, really, in terms of creating, because like he was playing, I don't know the name of the town, so I'll just call it what it's based off of, New Orleans. He was in New Orleans, and it was dark and misty, and I'm like, is Jack the Ripper gonna come out and just kill you at some point? Because that's what it looks like, man.
Yeah, that'd be a Saint Denis if it's the what I'm thinking of, like sort
Jack
of French
the Ripper
Quarter.
was in London.
Thanks, Andrew.
But it is a good point. There are a lot of
Also,
moments,
30 years before this game.
There are a lot of moments in this game that are like really well done in terms of like it could almost be a horror game, because there's so little of the game in its intent and narrative to be a horror game that it's just when you get to those moments where it's like a cave or you come across like a dead guy or something, or somebody comes out of the woods running at you, it's just like the way it can construct those moments is very well done, and could easily be like, I would say there's some moments in this that are like the most unsettling that I've ever experienced in a game, just because the game isn't about that most of the time.
Without spoiling it, did you come across the serial killer?
Yes. Yeah. And that was like that's a great moment. Just for those same reasons, like the game does so little in the way of being a horror game that when there are horror elements presented, it feels way more believable somehow. And it's really good. And there's a lot of those, like when you get over towards like the eastern part of the game, that's sort of like, I don't know, I would say like the hillbilly country, and there's a lot of that sort of really weird, creepy shit in that region if you really just explore. And I think this game does like collectibles, maybe not necessarily collectibles per se, but like kind of emergent content in a way that I don't think I've seen any other game really do. Because pretty well everywhere you go in this game, under every rock, there's some kind of story, whether it's like an actual character you can interact with and do a mission for, or maybe it's like kind of something that had already happened and you're just kind of coming through there. Like you might come across like a dead family or something. There's tons and tons and tons of shit like that to find, and it's like, well, what the fuck happened here? And if you really kind of go in and pick apart the scene, you can figure out what happened to people. Sometimes it's very obvious, other times it's like, what the fuck? But it's really cool being able to explore the world and see all of those things without it being like a waypoint, or like, you heard about this thing, go here and look at it. Oh, you completed it, now you can move on again. It's like, I like that none of it is marked on the map, because it makes all of those things feel more satisfying when you kind of encounter them. It's good. Like Fallout for that matter. Fallout 76 could learn something from, like, you still get elements of that, but a lot of those things are just quest markers, and I feel like people rush through it to just complete it rather than actually like pay attention to the scenario.
I agree.
So it's
but
very
we'll
good.
Get to that.
Yeah.
So, you guys might be happy to know, since everyone likes Red Dead 2, that Cyberpunk 2077 is aiming to be as refined on launch as Red Dead 2 is at launch.
That would be good.
Oh man.
Which is good, but also like very not surprising, right? Like
No.
that's
also
like they're
maybe not as likely, but
What do you mean?
well, I mean, like
Bitch, you haven't even played Witcher 3. I had a stroke mid
Yeah, I mean,
don't worry about it.
my point is that like 6,700 people worked on Red Dead Redemption 2, and it shows. Whereas I don't believe there are that many at Project Red. Like, I'm not saying they can't make a solid game, but I don't think it will be to the extent of Red Dead.
Yeah, but they're
well,
Polish
no, but it
people.
might be as polished as Red Dead, right?
As Polish
Like-
as Red Dead.
As,
No, I'm pretty sure it'll be more Polish than Red Dead.
as almost certainly. But
There's at least one Polish
like,
guy worked on Red Dead. I'm sure.
it doesn't have to say it's as expansive as Red Dead, but it might be as sort of as good technically, like as bug free. That's sort of what I was looking for actually, right? Like
Yeah.
as good on the quality assurance.
Yeah, it's also worth.
I'm really not worried at all.
No,
about-
like with The Witcher 3
yeah, I'm
was
not worried
terrific on
either.
launch, right?
But I don't think it's going to be like obviously CD Projekt Red really liked Red Dead, and that's good.
They did.
That's good from like a consumer standpoint, and also kind of easing my consciousness a little bit if they can consider themselves to be on that level. Which go for it and try it, absolutely. But I just don't like. I don't think it will be to the same extent. Like I don't know what they mean by refined. Does that mean like
They were referring to its
technically
launch.
sound?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
they were referring explicitly to the launch of Red Dead. They said we want our launch to be just as refined. Is it that means bug free? That's what that.
What?
So I named my character in Pokemon Peen, and anyway, my Pokemon just died, and it said Peen whited out. So anyway.
Yeah, I think they want to
Good
go
job, me
for
and
RDR2 launch instead of a Fallout 76 launch.
Oh yeah, well I mean, yeah, absolutely. I don't doubt they can't do that. So also somewhat on that, talking about polish. When I finally got down to the New Austin region of Red Dead, and I feel like that is less polished than the rest of the game.
Yeah, there's not. It's pretty empty. There's some
I just mean like in terms
Easter
of like
eggs and
there's,
stuff down there, but there's really no story content.
I just mean in
down
terms
there.
of like visuals, like the actual geography and some of the textures feel like they're kind of
yeah,
up-res
probably.
from the original game rather than remade. Some of it looks.
Well, I'm
a
sure
bit
they took
shitty.
the actual world space from the
Yeah.
first and just put some Vaseline.
Yeah,
over it,
I
basically.
wouldn't doubt it. And getting over to Mexico as well, which is absolutely not polished in any sense, but you can go over there and run around for some reason. I'm kind of expecting that to be a part of online at some point.
I'm thinking we'll start in New Austin online. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the majority of online content is going to be down there,
Maybe,
or at least
yeah.
a sizable chunk.
And I'm wondering when it's going to take place, like whether or not Mexico would be.
I don't think we'll get Mexico for online.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm wondering, because you can get over there. You can kind of glitch your way over there. So I'm wondering if they'll either change how the invisible walls work or if they'll add it, because I can see people just running around in Mexico and like you won't be able to get to them, you know? Like somebody will kill you and steal all your shit and then run to Mexico and it'll be impossible to get over there.
Yeah, well, that's something they have to iron out.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see whenever it happens. It's supposedly supposed to be sometime this month, but I guess we'll have to wait. Anyway, moving on.
Andrew,
Yes, Rory.
Speaking of
I understand-
not perfect games,
you played Fallout 76. Now, is it true what I read on the Fallout 76 subreddit that this game takes all the best things from Fallout and adds them in? Like it's
takes out
distilled
all of the best
all the
things
greatest. It's distilled the best elements of Fallout New Vegas, I believe is the
Objection.
quote I read. Is that true, Andrew?
Your Honor, objection. He's leading the witness.
You bet your sweet ass.
I thought so.
Aaron, I want a ruling on this.
no, I was trying to burp.
No.
So here's the thing. I've played it a little bit. I've played about 3 or 4 hours at this point.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't hate it as much as I thought I would.
I've
Oh, we
heard
love
that
the
a
game. You
common
heard it.
reaction.
In the podcast, we got him. We got him.
I don't at all like the game. I think it was a horrible decision still. I do like the
Man, this isn't
world,
in
and
the
I think
podcast
there's
anymore.
a lot of... I think there was a lot of potential in the story they went with as well. The story is essentially, you wake up and zombies. That's essentially the story. and I think there's potential there for a really cool single-player focused Fallout, like a traditional Fallout game. Like you wake up you wake up in Fallout 76 and you're trying to track down the Overseer, and she leads you down to the first major town of Flatwoods, and that's where you come across the now ruined base of operations of the what are they called, Aaron? The first I guess the first
The
faction
Scorched?
you join.
You're talking about the Scorched?
No, like the helpers, the volunteers.
The responders?
The responders, yeah. So you come across their first base and you realize that, these are the people that, that first started helping rebuild the wasteland. And why aren't there any people here? Why are they all dead? And so you go through a bunch of loopholes for, you join their faction basically because they have an automated system of joining. And once you do that, you end up using the terminal and you contact, I guess, a remote site. And at that point it tells you to go off and, do the same thing you just spent 3 hours doing, except do it 74 more times across the entire map. But if this was a traditional Fallout single-player game, and something I think would have been really cool here, would be when you first contact that remote site, they're like, wait, who is this? Is somebody there in that base that we abandoned? Because of the friggin' Scorch beasts and all the zombies that it's creating? Like, get out now, right?
Yeah.
And that would have been a really cool thing to be like, this is, the world's in rough shape, and they tell you, hey, you got to meet up with us at this new base of operations. And at that point, the Scorch beast comes with basically an army and forces you out of town, and that's your first encounter with the Scorched and the Scorched Beast. But in this game, what it actually is you contact this remote site and tells you to go somewhere else and do the same thing. And at this point, you might have only seen 1 or 2 Scorched enemies, and you have really no idea what they are. You're just reading terminal entries. It's like, hey, some of these people are coming back to life, or like they're being infected with the Scorched Beast. It's funny, I read something online. So the Scorched Beast is this basically a reskin of the Skyrim dragon. It's this giant bat creature thing.
Yeah.
Pretty sure
What
they
it
found one of
does
those
is-
in Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, it infects people, and some people, I guess, just kind of rot in place. It kind of freezes them, and they just kind of hollow out. They turn into a shell, a husk, and they're just kind of... They look like corpses, just burned corpses in position, but they're actually hollow inside, which I think is... I think it's a metaphor for what Fallout has become.
They put in a metaphor.
So Bethesda is the Scorched Beast.
Pete, I got
You're
this
right,
great
yeah,
idea.
I understand.
Oh, let's go on top.
And they,
Fuck 'em.
that was the idea?
Yeah. I think this is the amalgamation of a lot of bad ideas. I think somebody saw a lot of money, a lot of potential cash flow in an online game like Rust or games of that genre, I guess.
I mean,
And Bethesda, I don't know who the blame falls on really. I know BGS is a huge part of it, but I think ZeniMax is also a huge part
I think
of it.
it's the just general gamers are to blame. Like you look at Call of Duty Black Ops 4, a game that has always had a single player element. This game doesn't, and the sales haven't been impacted in any way negatively. So I feel like that sort of like extensive narrative that you're referring to isn't important to the bulk of players. They just want
Well,
like
I'm saying it's important to Fallout fans. This game
Yeah.
was not made for Fallout fans.
But I think
no.
I mean, I don't disagree with that assessment of the situation, Andrew, that you feel is largely financially motivated, but sort of irrespective of your motivations when making a game, like that, there's lots of games that were made to make huge profits and follow trends that ended up actually being really well done. Like,
Yes,
it's sort of,
yeah.
you have to get further to understand, like, I don't think the game is bad for that reason. You know what I mean?
So I think
it's
Fallout
bad for
76
entirely separate reasons.
I think Fallout 76 fails on that front as well, though. Like, it's a failure of basically, overall game design.
Yeah, no,
where
no, no,
multiplayer is, like, intrinsically... It goes against what Fallout should be. Like, getting rid of that narrative element, getting rid of all semblance of player choice at all. Because there's nothing here. This is Borderlands, basically.
I actually also think that's a good point, and I think that that point has been misinterpreted because a lot of people have said, because many people have said sort of exactly what you've said, which is that this isn't sort of what Fallout is supposed to be, and a lot of people brought up, well, shouldn't Bethesda get to decide what Fallout is supposed to be? The point that Andrew and a lot of people have been making is that this doesn't use the elements of Fallout properly. It has a lot of things that it could use that it doesn't. It's just not a good use of the IP. Like,
No.
you could do this other game, this other multiplayer game set in a world and have like a new thing. But it's weird to go to Fallout and then not use a lot of the things from the Fallout universe.
I feel like
I find that
Bethesda
bizarre.
only sees Fallout as, power armor and Vault Boy. Oh, that's what Fallout is. Let's put that in the game.
It would be like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it would be like having a Halo game or a Star Wars game take place before there were Jedi and Sith and Empire and Rebels and stuff, and just having a bunch of guys, wandering around. It's like, oh yeah, we have ships and hyperspace and stuff, but it's not, nothing else. It's like it's missing a lot of the stuff that like gives it its identity, or like it's almost like if Gotham was worse in a way, where it's like, yeah, we have this Batman TV show that doesn't have Batman or any of the other major villains in it, except where Gotham was successful and that was kind of the identity. Fallout 76 seems more like a cash grab.
But I think like the example I was going to use actually was, what if Halo became, let's say Halo did a battle royale. Battle Royale. That could be really good, right? Like as a battle royale game, but it wouldn't be the point because the Halo has so much great lore that if you're not using it, it's like, why bother being Halo?
I don't I don't agree with that entirely.
Yeah, I
'Cause,
don't
like-
agree with it either.
Like I mean, in maybe for like something like Fortnite that doesn't have any narrative at all and is just kind of a clusterfuck of various crap to make money. In a game like Fallout, where you have a very extensive lore and established world, and half of the fun in those games is like exploring and figuring out all of that stuff.
Yeah.
All of that is still present in 76. I don't think in a game like that the traditional gameplay should be paramount to the experience. I think you should be able to have other experiences take place in that same universe. So like, I mean, I would absolutely agree. I think if you're going to have a multiplayer Fallout game, it would be nice to have co-op and have just basically like a co-op New Vegas would be ideal, I think. But
I agree.
But I don't think you need to have that like choice in Fallout to make it a Fallout game. I know that that's what they've done in pretty well all of the other games, but I don't think you have to do that in Fallout's case because you have all of that lore and that history already established. It's not like super generic if you pull the choice out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I'm not sure I agree, but I do understand. Yeah, that it's
because
it has lore was a bad example.
Yeah.
What I meant was I think the like narrative choice would be not perhaps the right way to put it. What it's not quite role playing, but it's something akin to role playing.
Yeah, I get what
would
you're
say
saying. I mean,
Is a
it's
good
like-
use of the Fallout universe.
Yeah, but like in the same way that KOTOR 2 works as a role-playing game, Battlefront 2 also works as a Star Wars game. You don't necessarily have to have the role-playing elements there to make it a Star Wars game. You can have a sort of a arena shooter Star Wars game as well, and both work on different levels. So I don't see why you would
That is
necessarily...
a good point. That is a good point.
So I don't necessarily see why you would need to have that to make it a Fallout game. It's still Fallout, it's just different. Like, they can both be good on their own levels. Now, obviously,
Right, I see what you're saying.
76
Yeah, okay,
is
that
its
makes some
own
sense to
animal
me.
in terms of content and stability and how well the game works. That's a separate animal.
Agree, but that's a different issue entirely. Yeah.
I think that 76 on its concept should be able to work without changing too much. I mean, I would correct a lot of the sort of retcons Bethesda have done and make the game play better, but I don't think you would necessarily need to fundamentally overhaul it to make it a Fallout game. I think maybe Fallout fans are they have what Fallout is ingrained in them at this point, and anything other than that is a betrayal.
I don't think it's that as much as it's that they feel like if you change the mechanics, you've changed. I don't think it's because there is a change. I think it's because the change altered the way the game plays so much. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a subtle difference there.
Yeah, but how
Like-
do you... Okay, so you have a multiplayer Fallout game, and regardless of whether or not that's a good idea, how do you make that world have meaningful consequences to specifically your actions? You can't change the world outside of one player, because then everything gets changed for everyone else before it maybe should have happened.
Well, I would say this. I would say that Elder Scrolls Online has a lot of problems, right? We all agree. I mean, me and Aaron and Andrew all played it together for one frustrating afternoon. And, there's a lot of problems in that game, but they're not this... Elder Scrolls fans felt betrayed because the game was bad, not because it was a change to make Elder Scrolls an MMO. Like, they were fine with that, right?
Yeah,
I think
Elder
some
Scrolls-
fans weren't.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah, but I mean, fundamentally, the problems with that game aren't because it switched to be an MMO.
The problems with that game is it's an entirely different game.
And it fails at being an MMO, right? Like, had that game been
More or less, yeah.
more successful as an MMO and more mechanically interesting in combat, that would have been a fine game and a fine change, right? I don't think I agree with you that I think some of the backlash has just been because there is a change, but I don't think Fallout fans would have reacted negatively just for change.
No,
Right.
and Fallout hasn't always been an RPG. Like, Fallout Tactics wasn't an RPG. Although Fallout Tactics got a lot of backlash as well.
I was
so
just about
it's
to
really
say.
not, it's really not a terrible game.
Yeah.
Brotherhood of Steel wasn't an RPG. It was like an action RPG, like Baldur's Gate was on console. It was that type of experience,
Right, yeah.
like a twin stick shooter sort of thing. That wasn't received very well either.
No,
But-
I think that one of the main issues with 76 is that obviously it doesn't necessarily appeal to Fallout fans because it doesn't have the story, and it doesn't appeal to survival game fans because the survival elements are kind of shallow. So it's
And it
obviously
doesn't
like
appeal to MMO fans because it's not a very
Yeah,
well
there's-
made MMO.
the PvP has issues, and
PvP may as well not exist in this game.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was just about to
It
say
just
that
does not work.
I actually think, like, PvP has issues is true, but it's almost like they tried to discourage PvP so much that it's just a PvE game. Like, they should just take it out. Like,
Yeah,
they're just discouraging PvP, right? That's why PvP has an issue, is because it's so fundamentally discouraged in the mechanics of the game.
I
that
think
it's
if
like,
they're
why
going to
even
go
bother?
the MMO style route, they need to put a server selection screen at the start. And you need to be able to choose if you want PvP or you want a
Yeah.
PvE.
that would be nice. When you get killed, but they should introduce that. Have a PvE or PvE server selection that you can pick at the beginning, or server preference, and it'll just load you into one of those servers. And then if you get killed by another player, you would drop anything that you're carrying, I think. Because I think
Make
that's
it more like Rust.
yeah. Well, that's the only way to really introduce a certain amount of consequence and then reward for actually engaging in PvP. Because at
Yeah.
the moment there is no reward.
Well, it's like they didn't sit down and think about what type of game they actually wanted to make. They grabbed a bunch of ideas from different genres and threw it all together, and they hoped that I guess the brand would bring in enough cash to justify the experience.
Well, which I'm sure it already has.
Having
I
played,
don't know.
just
This
to be
isn't
clear, I
selling
think-
very well at all. Like this game is. I feel like this game is in real danger of being abandoned.
maybe
Like they're not going to do it anytime soon, but give it a few months, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Like if they don't make enough fixes here, this game is in real trouble.
They did release a sizable patch this week, but
Yeah, sizable is right.
It could be. It was like 5 gigs or something like that.
Was it 50?
I don't think so. Maybe if you download
It's
the whole
50
game
on
again.
console. Are you talking about the Monday
Well,
patch?
that must have downloaded the whole game again. It was just 5 gigs.
It did
to me.
download the whole game again. That's how they get past the Sony and Xbox
Local storage, or?
Approval thing. If you just make them download the game again, then it doesn't have to go through the approval process, which takes months.
Great idea. That's
Well,
a lot of fun. Downloading 50 gigs all the time.
Well, I
Love
mean,
it.
rather than a patch taking months on console, I think that's, I guess, a better idea. Because it is a bit of a stupid process to get patches on console.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I do want to say something about this game that I do think that one piece of criticism it's getting is, I think, undeserved. And it's not actually Fallout 76 specific. It's about a lot of things. I really have never liked the criticism of who asked for this being used as, like, no one asked for this, therefore it shouldn't be being used, because
I'm sure some people wanted this. I know
I
Aaron
find that
wanted
creatively stifling. It's like, what, you can't do something that nobody asked for? It's like, no one asked for any of this stuff. Like,
Yeah, I
you
think
know
that's
what
a bit
I mean?
dumb.
Like,
Without asking for something, we wouldn't have fucking Star Wars. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It's a dumb-
no one asked for this movie with Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill. No one asked for specifically that thing. Like,
although I could kind of sympathize with the idea, because BGS games are released so far in between that it's
I know what you're saying.
The time they spent making this completely broken experience could have been spent, like, if this hadn't been considered at all, would we have Starfield right now?
I don't think so.
no,
I don't
but I know what
but-
you're saying.
Right?
I don't think.
But all
Yeah.
the time and money they put into this, I
Yeah,
know it
and-
was it was a different studio that made this, but all the time and
But
money
everybody's
put into
working
this
on
could
this
have
at
been
the
put
moment.
into something else. Like they could have.
I think
those
the
people
only
around.
Everybody is working on this at the moment.
based on
at
that,
company. Like,
documentary that came out, I think the only reason they decided to go through with this was because they had acquired that other studio. I think if that hadn't happened, they wouldn't have made this. And maybe because, I mean, it was originally just supposed to be a co-op mode for Fallout 4, and then they acquired that studio, and they said, or the co-op mode originally had gotten put on a back burner, and they said, we'll maybe take a look at this later. And then they acquired that, what was the fucking game called? It's like Battlefield, not Battlefield, what was it?
It was
Some MOBA game. And then when they acquired that studio, they were like, well, let's have these guys rebuild the engine with network support, and we'll look into it. You know, we'll build a game there. So, I mean, you know, had it not been for that specific set of actions, I don't know that this would even exist. And on some levels, I'm kind of happy that it does exist so that Bethesda can learn whether or not this system works. If it doesn't work, then we'll probably never see a multiplayer Bethesda game again. And if it does work, then, you know, perhaps we'll be able to get a bit more expansive with that. Obviously, there's been a lot of criticism about the narrative and how a lot of the systems work. So that maybe, you know, in the future we can get an actual co-op New Vegas, and we can have those, you know, narrative choices without it having to be like a server-wide narrative choice.
yeah.
So.
No, I think how to fix Fallout 76 right now, like within the next month or a few months. Bring out private servers as quick as possible. Get the creation kit out there for this game. Get mods on the go. And, well, I guess that's really how you fix it right now.
well, but I think I think a part of it too. Like, one of the things, like, this game really might not be done yet. I mean, look at the tremendous leaps that No Man's Sky made. Or Evolve, if anyone remembers that. Like, those games grew a lot post-launch, and while I definitely don't support releasing games that are broken and then fixing them.
Yeah,
because
no,
that's
absolutely. This is a
weird way to make
$60 title.
software. Exactly.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, not
okay.
anymore, but
I
like,
don't think 76 is completely broken, but it is definitely less than acceptable, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
You can play it, but it should be better.
It's not shippable, in my opinion.
I agree.
Right? I don't think
Yeah.
you could. I think it'd be very hard.
From
shipping
a
this,
AAA studio, it's not acceptable.
Yeah, but they could change it very. I think this game is a really weird one, critically speaking. Like, there's a lot of criticism that I think is, legitimate, but I think that paves the way for criticism that's not legitimate, and I've seen metric tons of that.
Mm-hmm.
Fallout 76 is discounted for Black Friday. If you want to pick it up, you can pick it up.
Yeah, so I mean,
I'd
there's a
wait.
It's
testament to the
down
game's health.
20%, like a week after launch. That's good.
33%.
33%. That's
Yeah.
even better. That's not an insult to anyone that bought
That's
the
definitely
game
not
at
an
full price.
insult to anyone that bought it and is now feeling completely ripped off for spending money on it full price at launch. But it also is a testament to the game's health, considering if they were selling a lot of these, Bethesda would not feel compelled to discount it at all. Just like the VR Fallout 4, which was like $80 for the first year or however long it's been out. It's
I
finally on sale
agree.
now.
I agree in principle. I'm going to say if the Fallout 76 players feel ripped off, it was probably before this sale. I think I don't know if there might be more fuel on the fire.
I understand and respect a lot of the criticism it's gotten, but I've been enjoying it.
Oh, and that's the general consensus that I've read, which is good.
I would like to say a couple things I do like about the game, because
Sure,
I'm enjoying aspects of the game a great deal. Like I really like the world of Appalachia. One thing I noticed that some of the voice acting is really, really good. The Overseer's voice acting, I don't know if anyone told her how to pronounce Appalachia, because she pronounces it Appalachia.
A lot of
Interesting.
the people in the game pronounce it.
Is that how West Virginians pronounce it? Because I'm hesitant to talk about it because I know that's how we pronounce it. We pronounce it Appalachia, but I don't know if that's how they do.
Well,
So
I mean, a lot of people call Newfoundland Newfoundland, so you don't know how natives potentially.
yeah, but like the Appalachian mountains, that's
the
like
thing is,
that's
it's
a famous thing. So I don't know.
I don't know. I thought
anyway,
she was
world.
mispronouncing it when I first heard that, but I've heard other holotapes where they also say Appalachia, so I was like, oh, I guess that's what it is then.
Maybe it's like a lore thing.
Unless Todd didn't Google it beforehand, but whatever.
I don't like it. They should be pronouncing it the way I pronounce it. But yeah, the world is great. I really like some of the set pieces here. We're seeing a lot of I guess man-made set pieces that we haven't seen in other games.
Oh, Jesus.
Not to this extent.
Ow,
anyway.
what is that?
I don't know. For example, that giant bridge we see in what is it called? The Flatwoods that we can see in the distance.
Yeah, fucking massive bridge.
The water theme park with the alligator and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really cool set pieces. It's a shame that there's nobody to talk to to really flesh out the world. But
There are some NPCs, but you obviously don't get to choose. what you
it's
say.
robots, man. I don't give a shit about robots. All the characters are just dead. That's how every quest is. Hey, find this person. Oh, they're dead. Find this person. Oh, they're
Yeah,
dead.
but some of the robots have interesting dialogue. Obviously, you can't choose how to react to them, but
The game is being spoken to. That's every quest.
yeah, I'm not
Your
saying that
character
it's not
gets
a
no
massive
input-
problem, but there
input
are
at
some
all.
interesting NPCs. I don't know if you've gotten to any of them yet, but there are some in the game.
Like robots wise, no, I haven't.
Oh
gotten it.
yeah, they're robots, but I mean they're still interesting. Like they're not human, but they still have like interesting personalities.
I guess they all seem just like Mr. Handy's, though. They all seem like Codsworth. They're interesting as
There
far
are
as
some like
Codsworth
that.
is
There are some
interesting.
like the Protectrons and shit, but there are also some other ones that are obviously still within the same robot bodies, but have at least somewhat fleshed out to a 1% maybe personalities. More, you know, more akin to traditional Fallout characters at least. But
Fair
anyway.
This is the prettiest Fallout that's been released. I think overall, in terms of the graphics, the lighting is really good. The glitches aren't good looking.
Right? Yeah. You're saying when the game looks,
and shit like that.
but you're saying when the game looks as it's supposed to look, it looks good. Yeah, I understand.
The, the lighting effects look really good. But yeah, that's pretty much the extent of the positives I have to say about it. So, I don't recommend it.
So my that's a good way to end the positives. So some of our viewers may know, because they may be Thomas, that every year
This game is terrible.
We either go to Aaron's house or we go to my house and we watch the E3 press conferences before E3 starts, and we have a good time. It's a lot of fun. There's some food. There's some soda. There's some friends. And I really enjoy it every year.
So
this
fuck
year,
you, whoever did Andrew House or whatever.
It's going to be changing a bit this year because Sony's not doing E3 this year.
Yay! They probably got their feelings hurt about everyone shitting on them last year. Or this year.
Honestly, I think it's probably one of two things. That they don't have anything, because this was such a big blockbuster year for Sony the last 2 years.
The fuck do I get Pokeballs at?
That they're basically saying, we don't have anything to show this year, or next year E3, or nothing to really make a full show out of it. So we'll save everything for 2020's E3, and we'll have a big conference there where we'll debut the PS5, probably. Or they're probably saying something akin to, fuck the expense going into E3, let's just copy what Nintendo's doing and do Nintendo Directs, and that seems to be working out well enough for Nintendo. We'll try it ourselves and see if we can't, save money and stuff like that.
I think it's the second one. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna do their own thing. I'm not sure if it's for the reason of the expense, but I think that's what they're gonna do is do their own conference thing.
Well, joke's on you, Kevin Smith. I don't watch Nintendo Direct. Who's the guy who hosted before Andrew House?
The guy who hosted before Andrew House?
Yeah, the blonde hair buddy went on to do.
Oh, the guy in the commercials.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forget that guy's name.
Kevin something. I don't know.
It's definitely Kevin something.
Fuck you, Kevin. Get back here.
It's Kevin Butler.
I don't know.
Didn't Andrew House stop doing them? Isn't he done doing them now?
Yeah, it's some other buddy now. I can't remember his name. I don't give a shit.
Hello, I'm Andrew House. That's Andrew House.
He's great. I love him. He's done a killer job.
Well, he'll love you.
The Sony press conference, not this past year, but the one before that, is one of the best E3 conferences I've ever seen. The one where they didn't say anything and they just showed games.
Oh yeah, they did the thing at the beginning where they announced Frozen Wilds, and I was like, oh sweet.
And then the Xbox conference, which was like the day before, was all just like race car drivers that no one's ever heard of.
That was the whole conference. Yeah, that was the. Actually, no. I didn't see that one because I was in Montreal when it happened.
That's right. That was the one you were. Someone doesn't make it every year.
Well, Sony won't be coming this year.
I think everybody's expecting that next E3 will be the new console announcements.
I also
possibly,
suspect.
yeah, see,
I suspect that Sony's conference next year is going to.
I kind of think that too. I mean, they already have PSX, so that may be the reason they're going to kind of hold all their shit off and just announce the small things at PSX. I find it weird that, like, that week every year or around that time, you have all of this press in one spot to cover all of your games, cover all of this stuff. So it seems dumb. Like, even EA left a couple of years ago, and they still do their conference at the same time, just kind of nearby. So I think that's maybe a better choice for Sony if they're to do something like that. Maybe next year they'll start their own thing around E3. But I think it's kind of dumb to completely forego it when I mean, I guess you have PSX, but I don't really pay attention to PSX.
No, I agree
don't know
with
about
you.
you guys.
I don't think it's a good idea.
I'm guessing they're hoping that more people will pay attention to PSX now that they're not going to be at E3, but this might backfire on them.
I agree, because, people set aside time for E3, but there's going to be eyes on it. If they're like, oh, well, we want our own thing.
Well, again,
good
you
luck.
have all that
Like,
press. You have all that coverage for that whole week on all your shit. Yes, I suppose there's a
even
chance it
Nintendo
might get
has
lost
a
in the
Nintendo
noise,
Direct in E3,
Yeah.
I mean, even Nintendo has that. So
Yeah.
there's not like Nintendo's not part of the official ceremony, ceremonies or conference or whatever you want to call it, but they are part of that atmosphere. So they are kind of, because everyone's like, oh yeah, we're done E3, and now we'll watch Nintendo thing. And E3 is usually good enough for, I don't know if it's E3 and Nintendo kind of agree to not schedule anything for when Nintendo's going to have their Nintendo Direct. So if Sony's like, we're not doing it at all, and we're just going to have our Direct, a month later, they're not going to get the same amount of press coverage and hype that you would get at E3, I would think.
I agree, but I also think, and I think part of it is, like, one of the reasons, like, at E3, there's EA, there's Ubisoft, not to put too fine a point on it, but it's easy to do a better job than other people at E3. It really is. Like, because a lot of people, they watch the Ubisoft press conference, ugh, gross. They watch the EA press conference, ugh, gross. It's like, it's easy. There's a reason why people talk about the Microsoft and Sony conferences for, many days after they happen. It's because those were the good conferences. And, we all know what the EA press conference is going to look like every year. And they do too. So it's easy to get at least second place. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I wonder what the Bethesda conference is going to look like. That's what I'm interested in. I don't give a shit about Xbox and Sony right now. I want to see the absolute shit show that it's going to be.
There's never, I've never seen
76.
only on phones.
We've heard your backlash, and we agree, everybody. So coming next year, Starfield is canceled. Elder Scrolls 76.
Like, I think I've never seen a company have more like ups and downs in their E3 conferences than Bethesda. Like Ubisoft and EA are just consistently shit, and you know what I mean. You can rely on that, and
But Sony and Xbox have usually been pretty good the last number of years. But was it 2016 that everyone was blown away by Bethesda because it was like their first ever conference? Everyone was like, "Oh my god, this is like the greatest thing ever!" And then
they showed metric tons of gameplay from Dishonored 2. That's one of the things I remember. You remember it was like a 20-minute demo.
Yeah,
it was actually one of their better conferences.
It was terrific. It was one of the better conferences that year, in my opinion.
I think that won a lot of people's conference a year.
Yeah, and so, yeah, very, very weird to see what they did last year.
Where
Man
Todd came out and apologized for Fallout before it was even out.
Man of Medan.
Yeah. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Neither do I.
So this is from Supermassive Games, the creators of Until Dark.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn? So this is part of a new thing that they've announced, the Dark Pictures Anthology. It's a series of standalone horror titles that they're releasing. This is the first game.
I'm getting flashbacks to Konami's Month of Madness. Tread lightly.
So I'll just read off their site here because I'm too tired to think.
Dial.
The story of Man of Medan, or Medan, starts off on a dive boat in the South Pacific with a rumored World War II wreck to find and plenty of on-deck partying to be had. Our group of 4 young Americans and their skipper Fliss get ready for what should be the trip of a lifetime.
Oh, I'm guessing something goes wrong.
But it doesn't go quite to plan. As the day unfolds and a storm rolls in, they find themselves trapped on board a ghost ship.
Uh-oh.
Subjected to unimaginable stress and terror, they must try to find a way to escape the ship and its sinister history. So if you played Until Dawn, I think it's very much in the same
Join your
vein
friends
as that.
in an MMO
Or if you watched Ghost
wasteland.
Ship, presumably.
Did anyone watch Ghost
movie.
Ship?
Yeah, it was great. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I liked it too.
You could join up to 3 of your friends and explore the ghost ship.
Yeah, no, it's not a multiplayer game. It's like a... I actually like it better than the
All
Telltale
ghosts are
way of
real
doing
players.
these narrative story games. I know narrative story games is redundancy. But,
Where's Telltale Fallout game at?
yeah. No, I'm looking forward to this. I really liked Until Dawn, and I'm excited to see
Is it
what
Hayden
this ends up
Panettiere in
being.
it?
And this is not PS4 exclusive. This is coming to Xbox and PC as well.
Sweet.
Did you guys see that Sunset Overdrive just came out on PC the other day?
No.
Yes, I did.
Is it
did.
on
Here.
Steam?
It's like $20.
Yeah, it's on Steam. Yeah,
20
So,
bucks
yeah,
on
it's
Steam.
cheap. Yeah. The
What the hell is the Microsoft thing you're doing on the whatnot?
Yeah, it's weird. I read that. What's the company name? This is
Why ain't
on the
Forza
list.
on Steam, Phil?
Rory, who
You
made
fucking idiot.
who made Wasteland 2? In Exile.
yes.
So they were just purchased by Microsoft, but apparently the titles that they've been working on, Wasteland 3 and something else, are also coming out for PlayStation still. So that hasn't changed. So yeah,
Wait,
I'm
okay,
wondering-
wait. In Exile was purchased by Microsoft?
They were, yeah.
But wasn't Obsidian also purchased by Microsoft?
They were, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so we've got Obsidian and In Exile, two
So
great
two very good companies. Yeah.
purchased by Microsoft.
A Man New Vegas 2 confirmed.
I think Microsoft has given up on exclusivity, I hope.
Yeah, I hope. Fuck you, Phil.
You know, like that's
Waste of
good.
time.
I like it. So this has been a good year for like people making realizations like that, right? Like Black
Hopefully.
Ops 4 removed single player
The
'cause they
Microsoft
realized
Store
that
is the worst piece of dog shit I've ever had to use in my life.
Microsoft Store, they've realized that that's bad. Cliff Bleszinski agreed to stop making games.
Yeah.
Like
Everybody,
got-
everybody is better for that.
it's
a
the
hell of a
year of
burn on
self-honesty.
Imager or
I
whatever
like
it
it. Adam,
What was that quote?
Yep.
what was what quote?
Somebody posted a Cliffy B thing earlier in the week. It was funny.
Oh yeah, it was Andrew. Yeah.
No, that was me.
Oh, was it you? I'm sorry.
Yep.
It just mentioned how people were surprised that he was like a liberal or whatever when he was talking about how
I find it kind of hilarious when people find out that this is Cliff Bleszinski, that I lean left liberal. Like, did you miss the whole Gears of War as a metaphor for the Gulf War criticism of the Bush administration military-industrial complex? Lol. And then some guy
yes, I
came
did.
named, yeah, I also did, Turkey Factory, said, something tells me you're merely saying this to get mindless leftists on your side. So this means that lawbreakers and radical heights were pro-communist metaphors that didn't make any money. And then Cliff Bleszinski was like, eat a dick.
What I will say this.
I posted this, by the way. It wasn't Adam.
Okay, so it was you.
Give me
All right,
credit.
good. So I will say about this.
No.
I actually don't think. Like I also missed that because I don't know what that is. But I will say that I think Cliffy B is probably being genuine. Actually, I don't think he's making that up to generate some sort of sympathy. Like that wouldn't surprise me at all,
No,
Like-
probably not.
based on what I've encountered from him.
I mean, how can you be a real liberal without making sure everybody on the planet Earth knows that you are?
what? That's so dumb. Why the fuck? Gears of War is like Bush administration propaganda. Fuck off.
I
Yeah.
can kind of see it being like. I can kind of see it being like like.
Oh, you mean when
criticism
humans
of the-
attack an alien planet without any fucking justification? Yeah, I guess I can see that now.
Well, I mean, I can kind of see it being the Gears of War franchise being a criticism of the military-industrial complex, but that's more if you take into consideration the books that Karen Travis wrote that kind of flesh out the universe. Because the first Gears of War game is light on story. Let's be honest. I mean, it's as light on story as Halo and characters as the original Halo game is.
Have you read those books?
I read the
I know
Karen
you like
Travis
Karen
ones.
Travis.
Yeah, they weren't as good as her Halo books or her or the Republic Commando stuff, because it's frankly
The fuck
Gears of
you
War has
do in
less
this
interesting
game?
lore and world involved.
But it's all a metaphor, don't you see?
Oh yeah, my favorite part is when the Lambent were or the whatever they were called were a metaphor for the locusts. So everyone was like, "Oh my God, these things that look like locusts and use locust weapons and come out of the ground like locusts and live in where locusts used to live and come from the area where we put all those dead locust bodies after the war are really locusts." And everyone, I'm like, "Yeah, that's the twist."
So
I'll never get over that stupid twist in Gears of War 4. It'd be like saying, it's like, oh my God, the guy the thing that's invisible and lives in the jungle and rips people's skulls out of their head and fires a plasma caster and has 2 blades and skins people alive is really the Predator. And I'm like,
Spoiler.
We've had a lot of conversations, the group of us, on critics and criticism, and I think we all here have had a number of like films that each of us that we enjoyed that were, let's say, less well received critically. I mean, me and Andrew this year we both really liked The Outsider with Jared Leto, a movie which was really and truly torn apart by critics.
Was it? I didn't read any reviews.
People really didn't like that movie.
And you saw it and you enjoyed it?
I loved it. I thought it was terrific. I like one of my favorite movies this year.
Yeah, that's great.
But it has The Outsider. It has a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
Wow. I guess Rory's wrong.
You're a unique little snowflake there, Rory.
Andrew, I just said Andrew.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, me and Andrew both really liked it. And
you specifically.
Me and Adam both loved Marco Polo, the television series.
Good series.
And everyone hated the hell out of that.
Man, he invented pizza.
That's right. They actually depicted that in the show.
Oh, did they? Cool. They got it from China. Did he get it accurate?
Yeah,
he got green onion cakes from China.
The
more you know.
And now
Macky Mac.
Well, I guess once again, since I just said that me and Adam both like Marco Polo, once again it is Adam's turn with The Crimes of Grindelwald. Adam.
Yes. Action movie.
Talk to me about The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Have you seen it, Aaron?
No.
Okay, well then how do you know it's dog shit?
Because it's got like a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. You
know what else has a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes? Your
The
face.
Well, at least it's on there. I'm doing something.
I actually really like this movie, although I can certainly understand why people have some issues with it. I don't understand why they have so much issue. It's like I get why, I get some criticism, but I feel a lot of the criticism is unjustified, but that's just me.
I heard it was like sticking its dick up to Harry Potter movies, and it wasn't really an adventure film. It was just kind of like played second fiddle to Harry Potter and setting up Harry Potter stuff.
Not really.
Okay. I mean, I don't know any of these things. This is what I heard.
I mean, it's what this movie. The first movie was like an out-and-out like adventure kind of fun time adventure romp that you don't get anymore. This movie was also that, but less so. There was more intrigue, more plot intrigue, and more character intrigue, and there was a lot of actually really decent characterization here. I was wondering how they were going to bring back some of the characters from the first Fantastic Beasts movie, because they would seem ancillary. Because this movie is called The Crimes of Grindelwald. The first movie was just kind of like the big shock of that movie is like, oh, the bad guy was Grindelwald. This kind of Grindelwald. It's
that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, it's
I thought
German.
Grindelwald was a place.
No, Grindelwald is a guy.
Oh.
He was. Up until Lord Voldemort, he was the most powerful evil wizard that the wizarding world had ever seen. So it's like, if Voldemort is Sauron, then he was Saruman. I suppose would be a really good way of putting it. Where he was like, that's not really anyway.
Do you think they're gonna do a new franchise after this ends?
Oh man, Voldemort v Grindelball or whatever his name
takes place in the 1920s.
That happened in episode 7 or in movie 7, book 7.
Episode 7.
Yeah.
That takes place in the 1920s, and it'll be about another wizard that was the most evil wizard, the most powerful evil wizard before Grindelwald.
But this takes place in the 1920s.
Is it the 20s? I thought it was the 40s.
Nope, 20s.
Okay.
This is 1927.
What about the 1890s?
I mean, I suppose, but like Grindelwald was set up in the lore of even of the original Harry Potter novels. Like he dates back to the Philosopher's Stone, where when Harry Potter reads Albus Dumbledore's like Chocolate Frog card bio, it says Albus Dumbledore is known for blah blah blah, including his legendary duel with the Dark Wizard Grindelwald. And so even back then, it was like he was a character, and then in later books they kind of established him as being like a background character in the movies as like this really important this really powerful bad guy that Dumbledore defeated long ago, who was only surpassed in evilness and power by Voldemort. But I mean, Grindelwald is this movie is what it's doing. The first movie kind of set up the fact that this is going to be about Grindelwald and Dumbledore and setting up that kind of conflict. This movie is it's like the opening moves of a chess game where you have Dumbledore on one side and Grindelwald on the other, and they're placing pawns on the board and beginning their opening moves for what is going to be a very long and kind of cerebral game of attempting to, Dumbledore is attempting to protect the world from Grindelwald's evil, and Grindelwald is trying to protect the world, trying to enact his own vision of the world, which is going to get a lot of people killed. It's very, very... Yeah. So a lot of the characters in the first movie, where it was more like, this is just a Harry Potter movie, and it was like, shit, it's actually about Grindelwald in the first place. I would have thought that because this movie is going to be mostly about Grindelwald and Dumbledore, that these characters would be it would be hard to fit them into the movie, but they do a good job of bringing these ancillary characters back. I would say they do a better job of making characters like, Christ, what's his name, Jacob, the Muggle from the first movie, making him more important to the plot than they do making Finn relevant to the plot of Episode 8. If that's a good comparison to make.
Who's hacking the modem? No.
Yeah. This movie has a lot of really great characters. It almost has too many characters, and kind of looking back, I can see why other people would think like, this movie has like too many characters, and there's characters brought up in this movie that kind of also go away in this movie that you never really see again. But at the same time, I never thought like these characters were token or ancillary or anything like that. Like, they felt fleshed out enough to matter. And I don't know, they never felt super tacked on or super, just like random or anything. It felt like they had a purpose being in the movie. But honestly, the best parts of this movie were and this is gonna sound weird coming from me, Johnny Depp as Grindelwald and the character of Grindelwald. He was like one of the best parts of this movie. He has such a unique and interesting plan and a way of getting about that plan. It's fantastic, because Grindelwald's character is presented as this kind of racist, bigot, where he says, wizards are better than muggles. We are better than them because we can use magic and they can't. We, therefore,
makes sense to me.
We are the better race, and we must curtail the muggles and control
fuck
them. And so,
no, just kill them all, then we're all magic.
Well, I mean, yeah. And so he says, he doesn't want to kill...
set up some sort of concentration camp.
Well, hang on a minute. He sets up a...
Why not just cast a spell to make them all magic?
Oh, man, you got it. Oh, man, you figured it out, Aaron. Oh, man. You figured it out. Why haven't they done that? He could have just done that from the beginning. Oh, man.
That's what all races want to do. To ascend the lower race to become more like them.
Yeah.
Ultimus Magicus.
And then everyone's magic.
I choose you.
And anyway, his plan is very, very cunning, because I'm gonna say there are some spoilers here. If you guys mind.
No.
Nope.
Yes, a little bit actually.
Okay, well then I won't say the actual.
Plug your anus, Rory.
No, I won't say the spoilers, but I will say he uses there's been because Harry Potter is a hidden world where like wizards are hidden from muggles, but the Muggle world has happened pretty much like the Muggle world is pretty much mirrored our own in terms of events. People have always wondered, like, why didn't wizards intervene in certain moments, in certain historical moments, especially in the 20th century? This movie answers that question, or at least brings it up and uses it as part of Grindelwald's plan very brilliantly. Grindelwald is also very good at successfully manipulating the protagonists. to his whim for the most part. He has some pretty compelling arguments, although the decisions at one of the characters at the end makes a decision, and I can understand why a lot of people wouldn't necessarily like that decision. But I think it was a good move on the filmmaker's part because it allowed drama later, and it's not completely unjustified. But there you go. All of the actors do a really good job here. Like I said, this is probably my favorite Johnny Depp performance since the first Captain Sparrow. Really.
Not Mordecai?
No, or maybe Ringo. Actually, I liked Ringo. He did a good job as Ringo.
Did you see that? Did you see that Black Mass movie? I didn't see that after.
I didn't see that either.
No. I mean, I saw it. It wasn't good.
No. Okay, well,
It was kind of not bad, but the makeup was very distracting the entire film.
So Eddie Redmayne does a good job as Newt Scamander. Jude Law does a really good job.
Get it? It's a all right. Carry on.
Also,
Jude Law does a good job
dead,
as
River
Dumbledore,
Runner.
and all the actors do a really good job. My personal favorite being, and I'm gonna look up his name now, the guy who plays Jacob the Muggle. He does a really good job, and I really like that character. He's just very well written and very likable.
Huge shout out to Claudia Kim, most underrated actress in the game.
Yes, she does a good job as Nagini. Even though she doesn't have a super, a massive presence in this film. I'm hoping that she has a bigger one in later films because her character is very interesting, and I'm very and she does a good job of it.
How do I
the
leave
music
this
is good.
fucking starting area in this fucking shitty ass game?
What are you doing?
I'm trying to leave the beginning area of Pokemon Let's Go Pokemon Evo or whatever it's called.
It's been an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever, I'll leave it.
Okay,
Go ahead.
The Dan Folger as Jacob Kowalski he does a really good job as that. What else? I like the costumes and set designs. I love 20s aesthetics. I love Art Deco. I love that kind of look to characters. If you know what I mean by that style, almost like Great Gatsby look of everything, where everybody's really fancy and the flappers and everything. Right before the Great Depression hit, where everything's like very ostentatious and very grand. I love that design, and that's on pure display here. Again, the magical sets, like you get to see the magical world and the wizarding world in Paris, and that has a completely different feel to the one in London. It looks very unique. It's very interesting. The musical score was quite good. I just really liked this movie. Great characters, great casting, great acting.
Is it a bit of a soggy dick because you know that Jingle Balls doesn't win?
Not really, because there's it's because you know that Dumbledore defeats Grindelwald, but you don't know how, right. And because none of these characters, because Dumbledore and Grindelwald are the only characters in the story that we know the fates of, and because of that, we don't know if any of these other characters are going to make it out of this alive, or in what condition they are going to do so if they do. So it's interesting in that regard, because you could be like, Newt Scamander is only mentioned as the writer of this textbook and nothing else. So we don't know if he's actually going to make it out of these movies alive, or if he's going to be, scarred or anything, the same as any of the other characters. So that's what makes it compelling.
Man, I can see it now. Voldemort pops in to kill Harry, and then Newt Scamander shoots in through the window and is like, fuck you. And then Voldemort kills him, but Newt is able to fend him off long enough. And then that's how... Then it's...
Yeah, that's how the last Harry Potter movie ends, actually.
Did you know that... That's actually one of the few themes that John Williams is not really well known for, even though he wrote the Harry Potter theme music, essentially. Like, he wrote Hedwig's theme. And the music for the first movie, but nobody talks about that. Like, everyone's like, oh yeah, John Williams, Jaws, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Superman,
and the Olympics,
but nobody's ever like, oh yeah, he also did this amazing, well-known theme. Because even if you don't like Harry Potter, you should know the Harry Potter theme if somebody starts to hum it or whistle it or anything.
Yeah, I agree. It is. Very
Adam,
well
can
known.
you hum the Jurassic Park theme?
Yeah. Do 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 do. Is that it?
No, that's not it.
Oh, damn it. Is it,
I actually want you to do it.
Do you want me to hum the Jurassic Park theme?
I want to try something. It's something that's always messed with my brain. Now do Indiana Jones.
This is great content.
God damn it, you're smarter than me, obviously.
Why?
I've never been able to switch. Not once in my
How many
entire
times
life.
have you tried
I like
that?
the idea of
How many
Andrew
times
listening
do
to
you
me
try to
shittily
hum
hum
those
these.
both one after the other? Do you have like musicals, like you do a set, like where you do like, all right, we got this song on for tonight, now I'm gonna hum this one right after it.
Andrew is listening to me shittily hum like Jurassic Park. He's like, now do Indiana Jones and do it, and he's like, NANI?!
No, like I've always like they're catchy songs, obviously, but whenever I've never been able to go from Jurassic Park.
Also sounds very
Do it
very
now.
similar to
Not that I shittily hum music in my off time, but you know, it's in my mind, and I can never switch from Jurassic Park to Indiana Jones. I don't know
sounds
why.
very similar to Binary Sunset as well. If you're to combine those three themes, like in terms of just humming them.
Well, anything sounds similar and shitty when I'm doing it.
Yeah, but it's like some of the same notes. Yeah. Anyway, I
Yeah.
don't know where I'm going in this game.
Hey Adam. Now do the Toy Story 4 theme. I don't know what that is, so
Adam,
it could be.
Adam,
people.
let me tell you a story, Adam.
So people
So-
got no
Yeah.
reason to play with toys or whatever.
So, anyways, the first Toy Story film had a big writing team, and on the team
awful.
was Joss Whedon. It was
Yep.
one of the. It was one of. It's a work that he's done that's very famous. That's not often associated with him.
Yep, like Harry
And I
Potter
was
and John
once-
Williams.
I was one. Yeah, exactly. And I was once telling someone that.
Take it.
I said, "Do you know actually Joss Whedon was actually one of the main writers on the team for Toy Story?" And they turned around and they said, "I hate Toy Story."
Sweet.
And
Was
that
it
was
like
the
some
first...
sort of like widow in like a funeral gown or like a funeral makeup with the veil on and just like, I hate Toy Story, and she smashes her wine glass on the ground?
Talking
no,
about the
but it
adult
was
Toy Story where it's like turbo dildos and whatnot.
it was it was a
And they're all
it was an
Mandy.
interesting moment because it was it's not the first time I've encountered someone who didn't like Toy Story. Probably
My
'cause
favorite,
it,
my
you know,
favorite character was the hydraulic dildo.
But it is the first time I've encountered someone who really hated Toy Story with a strong passion. And Toy Story 4 has 2 official teasers.
Oh my Jesus, we're not even halfway through this fucking list.
And talk about it.
Okay. So Toy Story. I mean, we've known that Toy Story 4 has been in production for a while, but we got 2 teasers this week, or this week or last week, whenever they came out. The first one was, do you remember the Keegan-Michael Peele, or the Key and Peele, sketch where they're talking about Liam Neeson's? That Liam Neeson, though, he's there with them wolves, though. Like, do you remember that one?
No.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, it's that bit, but they're talking about Toy Story, and it's like they're 2 like carnival animal, like carnival, like carnival prizes for like a game, like like a game of chance or whatever, like ring toss or whatever, and they're just like, oh man, but that Toy Story, when he goes like, infinity and beyond, oh, I blew my mind. And then the second one is all of the characters from the Toy Story movie, so like Woody, Buzz, Jesse, Bullseye. The horse?
You've
Bullseye,
already named more characters than I know.
are all dancing in a
That is-
circle, and
that
then
is
they all
Dirty Broken Spoon guy.
and then Dirty Broken Spoon guy, who nobody knows who that is. And they're all just dancing in a circle, and then they all fall down. And
He
that's
doesn't
the
belong
teaser.
because that's the entire plot of this movie or whatever.
Anyway, so all we know is that there's a Toy Story 4, and that Key and Peele might be in it, and there's a Dirty Broken Spoon guy.
And Keanu Reeves is in it.
Yes, Keanu Reeves was announced that he has a role in Toy Story 4.
Do you think he's gonna be the dirty broken spoon?
And
Burping spoon.
Michael Keaton is in it.
Okay.
Keegan
the,
Michael Keaton.
So it's got all the old cast. Home Improvement and Captain Phillips are both back, reprising their roles.
How many captains has
Home
Tom
Improvement.
Hanks been?
Quite
Because
a few.
he's at least 3, right? Because he was Captain Phillips. He was the captain on the
Sully.
boat, Captain Sully. And then he was the I forget his character's name in Saving Private Ryan, but he was also
Miller.
Yeah, Captain
Miller.
Yeah.
He's been a lot of captains.
He's a very
at
captain. He's got a commanding
Am I a Down syndrome guy now? Oh, something else.
presence.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've never. He's all right.
You don't like Tom?
Yeah, he's fine.
Oh my Jesus!
He's fine. You know. If you're an actor for
Fuck
that
that.
long, you're gonna do some good movies and some bad movies, right? Like
Name one bad movie he's done.
Okay, gladly. Did you ever see what are those bloody Dan Brown novels called? What's the series of the Dan Brown help?
The Mona Lisa.
Angles and
Thing?
Siemens.
Those.
Felicity Jones was in one of them.
His like first major role in any kind of major film was like a Dungeons and Dangers of Dungeons and Dragons story called like Wizards and Wands or something like that. Fuck, what was the name of that movie?
Mazes and Monsters.
Mazes and Monsters.
Oh, that was
Mazes
big
and
time.
Monsters is a far out game.
Do we count that?
But
Yes,
hell
we
yes,
do.
hell yes.
And in
But
fact,
he's
if
been
I
in,
ever
he's been
get
in
an
some great
opportunity
movies.
to interview Tom Hanks, the first thing I'm going to ask him is like, so, let's talk about Mazes and Monsters. And he just gets up and walks out of the interview.
But he's been in some terrific movies. But he's not the kind of actor that I see his name on something and I'm like, oh, Tom Hanks picks the best scripts. You know what I mean? He's gonna be terrific. I can't
He doesn't
wait.
pick bad ones nowadays. I think he's done enough solid films. If you're gonna compare, like Tom Hardy only picks good scripts. Fucking shove Venom up your arse, Rory. Then
Okay.
Tom picks some decent ones too.
So first of all, yeah, Tom Hanks is fine, but what I'm saying is I don't get excited about him the way I get excited when I see another actor.
Because he don't have a
on
big
the list,
peen.
you
That's
know
what
what I
it
mean?
is.
They
He hasn't whipped his peen out.
Anyways, this movie it should be should have toys in it.
Yeah, let's get a R-rated Toy Story already, will you? Come on.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. I found out that the director of Toy Story 4, this is his first movie.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's good.
That's
There's
interesting.
directors for this?
Why on earth is Pixar pitting their flagship series, the company starter, their most important and longest and most endearing series they've ever had, to a rookie?
Because it's the guy who wrote Inside Out.
Oh.
I mean, Disney
So that immediately
Disney-
that
Can we
immediately buys him lots of credit.
Can I
around
retract
people.
my statement from the? Can I retract my statement
Sure.
from the class?
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
scratch that?
Disney
also,
picked decent directors.
New directors are easily controllable, as well.
I mean, I suppose
That's a dark
yeah.
angle.
But I mean, of all the new, not necessarily directorial debut, but new directors to Marvel movies in the past 10 years, I think they have a pretty, not Marvel movie, but Disney in general, they have a pretty good track record of
I
directors.
agree. I agree 100%. I think
So
that
I'm sure
I think that
this will
some
be
companies
okay.
are good at spotting new talent. I think I like getting new directors in on projects, but it's got to sometimes make you sort of a little bit weary, right? Like,
To be fair, Pixar is only because I keep in mind I haven't seen Incredibles 2 or The Good Dinosaur yet or Cars 3, but Pixar's only really had one awful movie, and that was Cars 2. Even Cars 1 wasn't bad; it was just
Cars 1
mediocre.
isn't as bad as a lot of people say it is.
No,
Like,
it's
Cars
just
1 is
it's just
fine,
not like
right?
It's
Finding
bad when you
Nemo.
find out it was Owen Wilson, but that was only after I watched it.
Well, you don't like
Wow.
Owen?
Oh, wow. I'm Owen Wilson, I'm a car, wow.
The
Oh, wow.
good in Wes Anderson movies. I think that's the essential thing to
Yes.
say about. Oh, what?
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson. What do you mean who?
I don't know who that is.
You don't. You. What do you mean you don't know who that is? What are you talking about?
Anyway.
Can we move on? Because we're like an hour and a half into this. We're not even halfway through
No,
the
I just
fucking
can't
topic
believe he's
list.
never seen a Wes Anderson movie.
Lion King remastered. I only watch East Anderson movies. Lion King
That's such a
remastered.
shitty joke. That's really bad.
No, the Lion King teaser, Aaron. The Lion King teaser.
So we're getting a live-action
remastered.
Lion King movie, except we're not
A what?
because they're all CG animals. I don't
Are
understand.
there? So it's a differently animated Lion King film.
Yes, it is a differently animated Lion King film. It's not like
wait,
with-
no, but the scenes it's supposed to be is the world CG or just the animals, right?
I guess it's
I
just
don't know.
well, the world seems pretty realistic, but the animals definitely
Yeah.
have a bit of uncanny valley to them.
Sure. Oh yeah. The
It stars a lot of people. Donald Glover, I believe, is playing Simba.
that's correct.
Okay.
Keegan-Michael Key is playing, I think, Timon. John Oliver's playing Zazu. James Earl Jones is the only person I'm aware of reprising their role from the
My
original
man
movie.
Eric Andre is in it.
Is that him coming violently?
Sounds like
Yes.
it. I guess
At the
Adam
Mirror
really likes
Mansion.
Eric
He's
Andre.
playing
Hero?
Azizi. Who's Azizi? Does anyone know?
No, it's Pazuzu.
Disease.
He's the demon.
No,
in the
Azizi.
X-Men.
Azizi. A-Z-I-Z-I.
He's one of the hyenas that works for Scar.
Oh.
Who's playing
Shout out.
Scar?
Who's
who
playing
was it
Scar?
originally?
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
That's an interesting choice.
Who
I
played
know what happens.
Scar in the original?
Jeremy Irons.
I bet
Right.
Mufasa's eyes.
What?
What a cunt.
So this looks like a shot-for-shot remake.
It
Don't
is
really
pretty
know
much.
why they're making it.
It
Oh,
is
they're doing a True Grit thing. Interesting.
the trailer is pretty much a shot for shot. Where somebody on Imgur actually posted a GIF of the side by side the opening scene from like the Lion King, the original and the new movie, and it's pretty much shot for shot. So they're very faithful in the recreation, but at the same time, like Lion King is Disney's probably most beloved movie. If I had to guess, if I had to guess for one everyone's favorite movie, like Disney movie, Lion King would definitely be in everybody's top 5 at least. It's their highest grossing film ever. It's one of their highest rated. It came out at the height of Disney during their '90 Renaissance. Like, I don't understand the need for this to exist. At least with the dog shit Dumbo remake, it was like that movie came out in the 1940s, and it's also like they're completely changing the story for the worse. But there we go. But with Lion King, it's like you're just completely remaking Lion King, and everybody remembers Lion King. Why not just re-release Lion King in studios? In fact, I would love to go see Lion King re-released in studio in
They already
cinemas,
did
sorry.
that, didn't they? They released Lion King 3D. Isn't that a thing?
We'll do it again.
I think also they got Jon Favreau directing this, which
Yeah.
is cool.
Jesus Christ, that's a busy man.
Yeah, really. Yeah, he's getting a lot of work lately.
Let
Good
me
for
tell
him.
you what happened here. Two execs were sitting together and they were like, "Damn, Star Wars is going down the tubes. We need some money." It's like, "Hey, let's just remake Lion King." They're like, "Yeah, all right. We can make this thing is gonna sell gangbusters, you know."
Oh,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
gonna
Make
do
so much
really
money.
well.
Definitely.
I mean, Lion King is up until Titanic, it was one of the high. It was the second highest grossing film of all time, I believe, until Titanic beat that record. I think it's still in the top 20, and it's certainly in the top 10 best-selling animated films. Although it might not be anymore since the Minions have happened and they've made absolute fucking gangbusters. But I don't know. Like, also, Lion King is one of my favorite movies
Top 10 list is
ever. Why?
Because Minions is dog shit.
Yeah, but it's high. No, it's not best. It's highest grossing.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I mean. Like, that being good has nothing to do with how much money it made.
No. If it sells more, that means it's better.
Yeah, Avatar, best movie ever. Terrific. Good job, James.
I don't know. Like,
Let's
Lion
get
King is
5
one
more
of
of
my
those, please,
favorite
thank you.
movies, and like ever. It's and I don't know. I just don't see the. I'm optimistically hope. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this movie. On the one hand, it'll be cool to see what they do with it with new actors and that kind of stuff. On the other hand, Lion King 1 is already a really good movie.
Never saw it.
It'll be cool to see Simba get an Iron Man suit. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too. Yeah. So Lion King, potential promise. Valve. So you guys own a Steam Link? Anybody here own a Steam Link? Andrew. Well, Andrew, you got it just in time because they're not restocking them ever.
Oh, no.
They're
Where
running
are they?
out, and when they're running out, they're not going to restock them. They're still going to continue to support it, to support the software, but they're not going to make any more.
Yeah.
They're
I mean,
essentially
I don't think
Sorry,
Aaron.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, they're just devices that let you stream to like another screen somewhere else in your house.
Yeah, they're just streaming boxes.
Yeah.
Like
That's
it
all they
essentially replaces an HDMI cable, but kind of like it streams it. So if you want to play a game on your TV in another room, then you can Steam Link it rather than having to play it on your computer.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe they're going to make a new thing.
Oh,
or something.
God. Oh,
What?
no. I'm reading the cast list for fucking Lion King, and they got fucking Seth Rogen as Pumbaa. No!
You don't like Seth Rogen?
Not as Pumbaa.
Is Kevin Hart Timon?
No, Keegan-Michael Key is Timon.
Oh. Yeah, I guess.
You don't like Seth Rogen?
No, and Keegan-Michael is not even Timon. It's Bill Eishner.
Oh, who's Keegan-Michael Key?
He's playing one of the hyenas.
Oh,
He would do way better as Timon.
Whatever.
guess
I'm
guess
never
it
going to see it,
sucks.
so I don't care.
So yeah, I like the Steam Link, but I understand why they're not going to restock it because it hasn't sold very well. But I like my Steam Link.
Do you like Tetris Effect?
I do like Tetris Effect, Rory. I like it a lot, actually.
Did you get VR or something?
No, I just bought it.
Oh.
You don't need VR to play it, but I'm sure it is better with VR. It is unfortunately PS4 exclusive.
Oh, lame.
Yeah. I wish it was on PC, but it's not yet anyway. I've always liked Tetris. I've never been particularly good at it.
I'm not an amazing Tetris player myself.
But this game, have you ever
I
played
play it
Rez?
until the thing fills up and then I quit.
I haven't.
That's good, Aaron, because basically...
What do you mean you wait until the thing fills up and then you quit? That's what everyone does. You lose if the thing fills
I
up.
mash whatever the button is to make the shit shoot down turbo fast, and I just mash that until it touches the top of the screen, and then I quit.
Oh, that's... Yeah, that means you lose, though.
I'm winning to me.
You know, that's what Hitler said as the bullet was entering his brain.
This is winning.
I can't lose if I don't play.
Has anyone played Rez or Luminous?
A little. I played Rez a little bit, but only because
So-
there's nothing else on PS4 at the time.
Yeah, so Tetris Effect is from the makers of Rez. So it's like it's a weird mix between a traditional Tetris game and like a music game, where the music doesn't really tie into the actual gameplay, but
Should have called it Tetric, like music and Tetris.
Oh.
All right, go ahead.
So the music really enhances the actual Tetris gameplay.
Is it like timed and everything? Do you mash buttons to the beat?
No.
Oh.
No, it's not that. The music responds to how you play, though. So if you're clearing more lines, the music gets, I guess, more intense, and the graphics around the screen get more intense. The game is designed to get the player into a sort of trance as they're playing the game, because the Tetris Effect refers to that sort of trance you get at some point when you're playing Tetris, where it all just sort of clicks, and you're getting you're basically seeing blocks in your sleep at that point.
Yeah.
And the game is specifically designed to get you into that trance, and I think it does a really good job.
I've never done that.
Yeah, but you've according to you've never played Tetris properly.
No, it takes too long.
I do highly recommend you try the game, because it's hard to really explain how the game is, what's good about it, without sitting you down and getting you to play it.
Yeah, I saw some videos and stuff. It seems like an interesting concept.
Yeah, the music's really good.
I don't really give a fuck about Tetris, but it seems I can see the appeal.
Yeah.
Well, you may not give a fuck about Tetris, but I
Or
know
Tetris
you give.
movie or something coming
I
out.
know you give a fuck about Monster Hunter.
Oh man,
Almost
you got me
wrong.
there, Rory.
And not to worry, because there's a Monster Hunter film coming out.
Oh man. Oh
It's-
my god.
Gonna be great.
Oh.
Why is it that they always give movie franchises to like games that are very low on plot? Like the only ones I can think of that have a lot of plot that have gotten movies are like Hitman, Tomb Raider, and Assassin's Creed. But like all the other video game
Tekken.
movies, they're like, fuck off.
That's the most plot-heavy game I've ever played in
Good
my life.
good plot.
I didn't say good plot. You said a lot of plot. Tekken's got a lot of
Fair
plot.
enough. That's also, you should play Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, that's true. That's like I mean I
Doesn't have a
won't,
movie
but that
though,
is a
does it?
plot-heavy game. But I mean, luckily they're giving it to the bad Paul Anderson. I was so angry every time I see Paul W.S. Anderson. I think it's Paul Thomas Anderson for like 2 seconds, and I'm like, Paul Thomas Anderson's awesome, but no, it's not him. It's the other guy. It's the guy who did Alien vs. Predator, and the Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, and his wife who can't work for anybody else apparently, so she's in this too.
So yeah, it's another one of these. I mean,
His wife being Mila Jovovich.
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Jehovovich.
So I mean, I'm gonna do a little bit of some quick comparison math here to see. Let's see. All right, so his movies, 49 on Metacritic. We got a 39 on Metacritic. We got a let's see. Oh, some of these don't even have 37. Like this is 43. Like this guy 41. He's never made a movie that anyone likes. He's never done it. 29. What?
Now, Rory, I don't think you're giving this guy enough credit. Or maybe not enough credit, but a chance. Because you and I both enjoy movies that critics rate low.
That's true.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Maybe you should go on a
intolerant
Paul W.S. Anderson marathon and really give this guy a shot.
Look, the two best movies he ever did was Mortal Kombat and Death Race. Okay? Those are the two, that's the height of his career.
Which
all right?
which Mortal Kombat movie did he do?
What?
The one with Goro.
What do you mean, which one?
There's multiple.
Are there?
Yes.
The first one. You did
Okay.
the first one.
Like, oh, do you mean which in the series?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And Johnny-
yeah, he
Johnny
just
Cage
did the Mortal
punched
Kombat
Goro
film
in the
from the
ball sack.
90s.
Okay.
And he, you know what, Death Race wasn't bad. You know, it was alright,
Wasn't
I
good.
guess. It wasn't good. I mean, you know, it had Tyrese in it. Everyone loves Tyrese, right?
Oh man.
Is that guy in anything that doesn't have a car in it?
I don't know.
He was
You
in
guys know he's-
Cars. Oh no, wait.
He's a singer too, right?
Is he? Well, there you go. Rory's in an
Is,
album.
is he
Oh,
though,
he's
Rory?
Carson.
Is he?
Yeah, and he's in those Transformer movies, right?
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays.
yeah.
He plays the
X.
same character he does in. How do you remember his name?
Well, I'm
Tyrese
looking at
Gibson?
Oh,
the
okay.
IMDb to remember what movies he was in.
He plays the
Tyrese
same
Gibson,
character he
doesn't
does in the
I don't think that's his name.
Fast and Furious. Essentially.
Oh really?
Yeah, essentially black guy
basically,
comic
yeah.
relief.
I
Wow,
blocked.
racist.
I blocked. He
Token
was
black
himself.
guy doesn't realize he's a token black guy.
He was himself in American Dad once.
Probably had cars in it though. Theory holds up. Well, there you go. That's it. Terrible movie coming out. Mila Jovovich, Resident Monsters, coming soon.
Adam.
Yeah.
Now I know you love MasterChef.
What? Do you mean Master
And
Chief?
the Master Chef Collection
Okay.
just got an update.
Oh,
about
okay.
Yeah.
For a second I thought you were talking about Master Chef, like the TV show.
No, this is
Well,
Master
now-
Chef, the video game character.
So
Now you got the remastered Chef Collection.
Yep. So a couple of months ago, the Master Chief collection got a series of content updates from 343 Industries that brought back the
Did they add
Infection
Halo 5 to it?
gameplay. No, it's not in the collection, Aaron. Fucking pay attention.
It was in the game, so it's not a collection.
Trying to they brought back the Infection game mode, which is a very popular game mode that was created in Halo 2, I believe, Halo 2 or 3. And they brought it back for all the different Halo games and multiplayers in the Master Chief collection. Because it was so popular, 343 was like, "Oh, let's do this like community event." So when people logged into their to Master Chief collection on Monday or Tuesday, instead of the normal title screen, everything in the menus had been floodified. So like instead of like the Halo rings, it showed like flood biomass and stuff. And basically, Bungie was saying the community needs to reach so many, reach a certain
343.
goal. Or yeah, 343. Sorry, said that the community needs to reach this certain goal of killing this many infected. I believe that's what they have to do, and then there will be a future update for the game in December if the community reaches this goal. So I think it's really interesting because this is the first time that 343 has really done this to this extent for the and it's interesting that they're still supporting the Master Chief collection 4 years out from its original launch because I don't think anybody's
that
playing
long?
Halo 5 anymore. What?
So it's been that long? Jesus.
Yeah, 2014 is when it came out.
That's gross.
But yeah, no, I'm happy that they're still supporting this game. It looks, I'll be interested to see what they do in December if the community reaches their goal. Maybe this is them testing out stuff for Halo Infinite to be like, hey, maybe if this is really successful, we can plan kind of community
totally
events
what
and
it
stuff for
is.
Halo Infinite. So,
God damn it.
wait, God damn it! I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, but if that's all that Halo Infinite is,
No, it's not gonna be all that Halo Infinite is. There's gonna be a story, and it's gonna be
it's gonna be
great.
Halo
probably.
76.
Yeah, anyway, so I thought it was just worth mentioning because, I just finished playing the Master Chief Collection. I put it down like a week before this thing came out, so.
Time
Anyway.
to do it all again.
Nope.
But Halo 5.
Moving on.
That
That's
was
it.
actually the end of the list.
Oh, sweet. Goodbye, everyone. Whoosh.
I got the Zephyr badge, and now we can end. What a great game.
Oh.
Let's go, Pokemon is.
You finally beat. It took you an hour and a half to get to the first badge in Pokemon.
Yeah, I didn't
Gold.
know how to advance. Apparently, you got to walk to a very specific part of the map and talk to a random guy.
This one was an audio-only podcast.
This is
Yeah, they don't know that.
this is Aaron. This is a game for children.
Yeah, I know, and my child self is much better at this game, but this is a brand new one, Adam.
Okay.
This guy won't let me pass. Can I just kill him? Anyway, whatever. We'll see you next time, everybody, with a brand new game. Or maybe.
Bye.
Goodbye,
So
everyone.
long.